Morning Watch.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM, the number one gospel station in Jamaica. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you are overseas and on the move, US listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you are in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also check us out on Love 101 FM Facebook Live and YouTube Live. In the main watch today, Jamaica to say no to ACP-EU agreement. In the second watch, Errol Bean, a faith journey with prostate cancer. In our social media question, we ask, why have you not done your prostate exam yet? Share your responses on our Facebook or YouTube Love 1 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp comments and voice notes to 876-9973-125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your comments later on in the program, but first, here's our quote.
I come here for drink milk. Me not come here for count cow. Mind your own business. Enjoy what you're entitled to. Don't worry about details which do not concern you.
So, Miss, make it fast.
No, that's not allowed.
Yeah. The main watch will be back after this break.
Say cheese and keep on smiling. Oh, say cheese. Say cheese and keep on smiling. So much joy you bring everywhere you gonna, people have to smile. Say cheese, say cheese. I just love you bring everywhere you gonna, people have to smile. Just say cheese and keep smiling.
Nothing creates a smile like cheese. Happy Cheese Month, Jamaica, from Tasty Cheese.
I'm Tammy.
I'm Wayne.
And we are the Mitchells. Our life is a busy vibe.
We have our vlogging and music.
Entertainment for the kids.
Them love the online gaming, you see.
And streaming enough shows.
So whether we are at home or on the road,
Flow Yard and Road is made for our vibe.
Power your everywhere vibe with Yard and Road and get up to 150 megabits per second fiber fast internet at home and fully loaded mobile with unlimited social and YouTube data. Anywhere talking text plus gigs and gigs of any use data. All for a special offer of $4,999 plus GCT. Yard and Road is for the way you live. Flow, Jamaica's network. Visit discoverflow.co. Conditions apply.
Already 20 years the Cameron there? Asa Beite Años in Jamaica? Thank you, our valued customers and industry partners. You made it possible.
Come celebrate this significant milestone with us at any of our 3 properties: Royal Decameron Club Caribbean, Montego Beach, and Cornwall Beach.
Call us today at 876-973-5600 or visit us at www.decameron.com. Let's celebrate the next 20 years together at Decameron's all-inclusive hotels and resorts.
You've been faithful.
Wycliffe Caribbean will be hosting its 10th annual Church Leaders Breakfast under the theme Passing the Baton Towards the Finish Line, Celebrating the Faithful. This Saturday, September 24, beginning at 8 a.m. at the Venetian Terra Nova Hotel, 17 Waterloo Road, Kingston 10. Listen as Love 101 FM will share highlights. Sponsored by Love 101 FM. That's the 10th annual Church Leaders Breakfast of Wycliffe Caribbean. The highlights will be this Saturday on Love 101 FM, the family station.
You mercies I see.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We now proceed with the main watch. In a recent town hall meeting, September the 9th, 2022, the nation was given certain assurances concerning Jamaica and the to be concluded ACP EU agreement. Let's listen to a clip from that event on this issue. I believe we should be listening to a clip at the moment.
Ministry of Youth and Ministry of Education and Youth in May 2022, and with no response. Why is the Jamaican government still planning to sign the ACP EU agreement, given the serious issues with the agreement? For example, CSE Comprehensive Sexuality Education, as noted in Article 48, Paragraph 7 of the Caribbean Protocol of that document, which would compel us to teach morally corrupt European ideas on sex, family, and gender to students, and is legally binding for 20 years and with no exemption under threat of sanction. We would love to meet with representatives of the MOE and the Office of the Prime Minister to discuss this serious threat to our sovereignty, parental rights, and the minds of our children.
Thank you, Daniel.
Years.
Thank you, Daniel.
For sure, definitely. We'd love to meet with you to discuss it. I know this is something that is out there in social media. Many persons have been talking about it. We would love to hear more. We'd love to talk with you some more about it. Please come and see us.
But just to be clear, Daniel, I mean, I've been seeing statements made, and I saw a video someone made about this issue, and I inquired of it, and I was told that there was nothing like that. You have raised an issue now, which is of great importance to me, because Jamaica is a sovereign country, and we understand our value systems here, and we want to ensure that we preserve our value system. So I will take a deeper look into what you have raised, but my preliminary inquiries into the concerns that you have raised suggested that there wasn't anything to be worried about, but you seem particularly agitated, and so I will take a second look at it.
Prime Minister, I'm sorry to intervene, but while the comment was being made, the Minister of Foreign Affairs was actually listening, and she wrote to us and said that Jamaica is not going to be a party to any such thing to influence our children in any such way.
That was the assurance she gave me when I spoke to her. So I'm glad that she was listening and was able to respond.
You might be asking. I believe that is the end of the video clip that we were listening to a moment ago. We have as our guest so far Dr. Daniel Thomas, president of the Love March movement, whose voice you would have heard on that video clip expressing very strong concerns. And we should be having on the line as well Pastor Basil Hanson. He's a Christian activist and the chief executive officer of MTM TV. Dr. Daniel Thomas, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Stokely. Thanks so much for having me.
We heard your very strong, passionate comments in that video clip. Is the Love March movement now satisfied in relation to the comments of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith, that was read during that town hall meeting after the Prime Minister had commented?
Right. So for your listeners, because I think there was some distortion on the line. Minister Robert Morgan stood and read a comment by Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith saying that Jamaica would not sign any such agreement that concerned our children. They will not sign any such agreement that would affect our children in any such way. That is what was said. Now that is a great indication. That means that they have looked at the material and they're thinking and they're saying that they would not sign such material which would impact our children. That's a great sign, but it is not all that we're looking for, but it is an indication that things may be going in the right direction. We want that in writing, and actually letters were sent by the Jamaica Coalition of Our Healthy Society and the Love March movement was a signatory of such letters. Letters were sent to the Office of the Prime Minister, letters were sent to the Ministry of Education and to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And in that letter, there's actually assistance with what changes can be made, because we would like there to be a caveat type of statement, an amendment to the agreement that would essentially say that we would protect our sovereignty and our value system, as the Prime Minister said, and not go along with any ideas that are not in keeping with our national sovereignty. So it is an indication that we're moving in the right direction, but we are definitely not fully satisfied as yet.
Now, the material that you took very strong objection to, that had it not been looked at, would likely have been allowed in an executed or signed agreement. This is in relation to the teaching of certain sexual mores that the Love March movement does not want included, yes?
Yes, well, certainly the Jamaican people themselves have expressed, even via the recent Don Anderson polls, that there are significant objections that we have to certain materials. Now, if the polls had asked about children, it would have probably reached 99.9%, you know. But what our position really is, you know, is that there are several issues with the ACP-EU agreement. It's a long agreement affecting 76 African, Caribbean, and Pacific nations that the EU is forcing on us with. It seems that there's restricted amount of interaction in terms of what the document actually says. And there's a lot of European ideas concerning, as I mentioned in the question, concerning family, sex, and gender, and things related to abortion, which we did have that poll recently that said 66% of Jamaicans are against the legalization of abortion in Jamaica. Stuff related to buggery law, our polls did say a lot of persons, I believe it was approaching 80%, said that we're opposed to that kind of thing. And so it is clear that the Jamaican people are not walking lock and key in step with what the Europeans would like or what their country is like. They have their own country. We have our own country. And so because it was an education town hall, I kind of zoomed in on the educational impact, which is that they would want to teach comprehensive sexuality education in Jamaica, which is their ideas about these stuff, to our students, our children, without really our consent, without us being really part of that discussion. We know that that is not what we want. And so the Love March movement is just representing the voices of the Jamaican people that might not know that this kind of international treaty discussion is taking place. There are very serious concerns, and the CSE, comprehensive sexuality education, and that kind of perverted ideas concerning sex, that is just a part of it, which was relevant at the education town hall in particular.
You said that it was just a part of it. What do you mean by just a part of it? I'm
saying that was only one of the many concerns that are in the document, because the ACP EU treaty, and you can check deviousseutreaty.org, that treaty in and of itself would revamp our entire society, not just the education sector. So what I'm saying is what I addressed in that question was just related to the education sector in particular, but it would have serious impacts on how we would vote at the UN, as in the document in a wider sense. It would have serious impacts on several aspects of Jamaican life and culture, not just related to education. But we just zoomed in on the education part because it was an education town hall with the Minister of Education, Minister Favour Williams, who agreed to have a meeting. And I'm really happy and really hopeful about that meeting, and negotiations are taking place in terms of when that would be. I look forward to hearing from the ministry on that matter. But things seem to be moving in the right direction, and we're really happy about that.
Hold that thought, Dr. Daniel Thomas. We're going to take a break now. Listeners, please stay with us. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
Get better coverage for yourself and your family as low as $800 a month. The time buy JN Life Vest from JN Life Insurance is
$7.15.
Tiles. It can go everywhere, from your walls to your floors, from inside to outside. Your style, your choice. At Active Home Center, we have the widest selection of tiles, from classic to unique. Shop our new arrival of tiles for your bathrooms, living rooms, kitchen, and more. Let us help you transform your space. Visit us in Kingston at 84 Constant Spring Road or our newly opened location in Freeport, Montego Bay. Active Home Center. More savings, more choices.
Rata just got better with a new prime Rata on Dietary, Jamaica's #1 LTE network. Serious? With up to 15 gigabytes of any use data, up to 2,500 minutes for calls. Plus dedicated data on digital apps, which now includes data for Spotify, Apple Music, and HBO Max. There's no better plan for all your content needs. Say less. Me gonna get a plan up on the My Digicel app. Mr. Rata. Activate a prime Rata bundle today for as low as $195.
Shake and go with true shake. Shake and go. Grab a true shake and go. When me have to put in the work, but I'm moving slow. Grab a true shake and go. School time and on joke time. Office study hard, brain full time. Grab a true shake and go. When we up in the gym, we have to stay healthy and fit. Grab a true shake and go.
Shake and go with True Shake. Now also available in 2 delicious flavors: peanut and butter pecan. Packed with protein, calcium, key vitamins, and minerals. So get yours today.
You know what I count, yeah. Hey, me count, you count. Census say all of we count. Hey, you count, me count. Census say all of we count. Hey, information needed to develop the community. Them scouts them out and I get the reports. So don't bother hide when you see them.
Census 2022.
The Jamaican census will be conducted between September and December 2022.
You count, me count.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the main watch. Our guest is Dr. Daniel Thomas, president of the Love March movement. And the topic is Jamaica to say no to ACP EU agreement. And we were hoping to have Pastor Basil Hanson on, but I gather that he may not be on. He is a Christian activist and the chief executive officer of MTM Television. Dr. Thomas, so in a nutshell, the material will not include, the educational material will not be including anything other than what we currently understand in terms of sexuality, legally permissible in Jamaica, male, female, and no references to anything such as two parents of the same sex or gender, as the case may be. So you are now pleased with that, but you would like to ensure that there is follow-up in writing and that there's a meeting with the Minister of Education. Am I correct?
Well, certainly there's an indication we may be going in the right direction. I wouldn't even go as far as to say we are pleased. We're just pleased that there is an indication, if you want to put it that way.
I
but
see.
There really has to be a systematic and legally binding type approach, you know, kind of statements in the public like that really have to be backed up, as you're saying, in writing, and also it should show, it should bear fruit in terms of the discussions and the negotiations at the actual table when we come to it, because as you can imagine, with these kinds of treaties, you have the African nations, Caribbean and Pacific nations, they will be at particular meetings, and then Jamaica will have to speak up as to what our position is. And so we would like the words of Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith to be echoed at these very important meetings, because we're not the only country that is up in arms about this kind of material. You know, it is really far-reaching. And Stokeley, I don't know if you want me to just to point to one other aspect, which is just extremely concerning about this whole thing.
Go ahead.
So in Article 101 of the General Protocol, it actually demonstrates the extent to which they are committed to advancing their human rights agenda. Now, when they say human rights, that human right means the right to kill the unborn babies, and the right to same-sex marriage, and all these other rights, the right to get your transition surgery to move from one gender to the next, you know, those kind of things. So their dedication to their definition of human rights is so intense that they have said in Article 101, paragraph 7, that where there are disputes in any area where persons, ACP countries, are not holding up their end of the bargain, there can be a level of consultation and a period of consultation and to find out why that country is not holding up their side of the obligation, except for 2 areas. Those 2 areas, if you breach those 2 areas, any of those 2 areas, then there's going to be serious consequences. These 2 areas that they say they're going to be serious consequences, and they're not going to be any kind of consultation, but they're going to be immediate consequences as well. These 2 areas are the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, and secondly, human rights. They have equated their understanding of human rights to in terms of a threat, right? They have equated it with the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, nuclear weapons. That is how dedicated they are to their definition of human rights in this document. And that just means they're going to be very aggressive. This, as the thing is stating now, the ACP EU treaty, it means that they're very dedicated to this cause. And so that is why we're being so assertive in raising this issue in the public sphere. It's not just gonna
have you ever raised the concern that in an ACP EU treaty, by the way, ACP, for the benefit of listeners, means African, Caribbean, Pacific, EU, European Union, which is normally in relation to trade matters. So have you ever raised the concern as to why, you know, an arrangement that is hitherto at least primarily concerned with trade is going into the area of human rights? Have you ever questioned that?
Well, I would like those representatives of Jamaica that are going to be going before to have these discussions, right, to ask these kinds of questions. That is an excellent question, Stokeley. That is the kind of question that we expect our Minister of Foreign Affairs and her team to be asking. This was originally a trade agreement. How now all of a sudden they have packed this thing with all kinds of things which are not culturally sensitive, which undermine the sovereignty of nations. This is very serious, and we have not seen previously where that approach is taking place. But based on the words of Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith, we expect now that they're going to be speaking up, to be asking the European Union these very tough questions. We actually have an ambassador to the European Union in Jamaica right now. So it would be great if those kinds of questions could be asked with the representative that is right here.
You mean there's an ambassador from the EU here in Jamaica? That's what you mean?
Yeah, man. That's what I mean. There's the EU ambassador in Jamaica. So discussions can actually take place, and it would be lovely for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to update the nation in terms of the outworkings of the position now that they have stated that they are taking. So there's a lot of work still left to be done. We stand ready to meet with anyone who would like more information about this. If the Parent Teachers Association would like to verify the veracity of the claims that we are putting forward that is contained in the letter to the office of the Prime Minister, if the Jamaica Teachers Association, who would have to teach this kind of comprehensive sexuality education, which is the perverted European understanding of sex and gender, if they would like to meet with the Love March movement, or I believe the JCA, or other 4 organizations represented and as signatories to in these letters, we stand open to meet with these persons, because guess what? We really have some understanding as to the impact that these documents are going to have on our nation. But we will be meeting with the Minister of Education, as Minister Faber Williams said, and we look forward to see. I would love to also commend the Prime Minister for saying that he will look further into the claims as expressed in my question, and I really hope that he looks at. I cited article.
Well, he indicated that before he heard that the Minister of Foreign Affairs had indicated that we would not enter into such an agreement. But so what is it that you would like him to do now that she has in fact said what she said?
Well, he's the commander in chief, as it were. So it would be his responsibility as leader in the country to ensure that the words expressed by Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith become the position that is actually orated at the joint parliamentary sitting, which is going to take place with the EU, right? Our position as a nation, we should not be saying one thing to our people and then one thing to the European Union. So based on what has been said, I think this thing is so important in Stokeley that the Prime Minister himself should look at the document. Him not even ask nobody anything. Him look at the document himself, because the thing is a threat to our sovereignty. It's a threat to parental rights and to 20 years worth of our nation's sovereignty and the education of our children. So I think it's something that should rise to the level of the office of the Prime Minister in a very serious way. And so we need to work out how it is that we're going to now approach it, because the ACP-EU agreement previously was important in terms of trade. They have now tried to tie in their trade and the disproportionate power that they feel like they have over us 76 other nations. They want to tie in all these ideas, but we have to be talawa in this situation and tell them that respectfully we disagree. And Stokeley, at the UN, there's a general understanding that nations have the right to self-governance and self-determination based on their own cultural nuances and their ideas. So this is really flying in the face of years of UN type and EU type discussions and treaties. So we would really like that there is that discussion or that takes place to find out what is it exactly that we're going to do, putting pen to paper and representing to the European Union the relevant discussions, the newfound position that we will not be signing any such document that speaks to our children and teaches our children, influences our children in any such way.
Well, it may not necessarily be that the European Union has any ill intent in their minds. But
Probably.
It could have a lot more to do with the fact that their worldview might be different from ours.
Certainly, but
Stokeley, yes, go ahead.
Even if you have great ideas, you have to respect that people are going to disagree with your ideas. You cannot put something in the treaty that says if you don't do what we say, there are going to be immediate trade consequences. That is not how this thing is. It's not some kind of one world government thing that we're a part of. You understand? Every country has the right to self-governance and their national sovereignty. So if the EU has their ideas, that's great. Good for you. Jamaica, we have our own ideas, and those ideas should be respected at the international level. That is all that we're saying. That is the conventional understanding.
Understood. What next? What would or should we want to see happen next in the time that we have left?
Well, the work of the Love March movement will go on. The JCH, we will continue to work on these things because, we want to see this thing through to the end. So we're not here now sitting on a beach saying, wow, this is so great, nothing more to do. There's a lot of work to do in terms of properly ventilating the issues still. And let me just read for you what we're asking that they put in the document. The amendment to the ACP-EU treaty, it could say something like this, quote, nothing in the present agreement shall be interpreted to create any rights or obligations in relation to abortion, sexual orientation, gender identity, comprehensive sexuality education, or sexual rights, or any other ideological issue which removes or threatens the exercise of fundamental freedoms which Jamaican citizens currently enjoy. That is the kind of amendment that we would love to see in the put forward as an amendment to this treaty.
Dr. Daniel Thomas, I agree with you, and I do hope that you'll be successful.
Thanks so much, Stokeley.
I think we're totally out of time, and we will have to leave it there today. This is a very important matter, and it is not something that can be taken lightly because, children, they are... if you lead children astray, that's a very serious violation. Take a look at the Word of God and you'll see it right there written in the Bible. It's more, the scripture is very clear. Dr. Daniel Thomas, thank you very much. Thank you for your time and for your thoughts. Listeners, please stay with us. We'll be right back at the Morning Watch.
Talk to Jane Bank today to find out about achieving your own sweet home in 30 days. The time by Jane Bank Mortgage is
7:30.
I'm Tammy.
I'm Wayne.
And we are the Mitchells. Our life is a busy vibe.
We have our vlogging and music.
Entertainment for the kids.
Them love the online gaming, you see.
And streaming enough shows.
So whether we are at home or on the road,
Flow Yard and Road is made for our vibe.
Power your everywhere vibe with Yard and Road and get up to 150 megabits per second fiber fast internet at home and fully loaded mobile with unlimited social and YouTube data. Anywhere talking text plus gigs and gigs of any use data. All for a special offer of $4,999 plus GCT. Yard and Road is for the way you live. Flow, Jamaica's network. Visit discoverflow.co. Conditions apply.
Colgate Triple Action. 3 benefits for a deep clean. As a mother, you always want to give the best to your family and to make them happy. With Colgate Triple Action, you give them 3 reasons to smile. Cavity protection, whiter teeth, and fresh breath. A unique formula with a minty flavor they will love. Colgate Triple Action. Find it at your favorite store.
Well, if you want buy appliances for your home with the quality high and the price low, get it on a Bashco. Get it on a Bashco. Bashco. For everything where you need. Bashco. Quality service guaranteed and a Bashco. Bashco. Store that gives you more. Yeah, Bashco. Get furniture for your house, bed linen, everything for your kitchen, rugs, mugs, and more at Bashco. The store that gives you more. Bashco.
You've been faithful.
Wycliffe Caribbean will be hosting its 10th annual Church Leaders Breakfast under the theme Passing the Baton Towards the Finish Line, Celebrating the Faithful. This Saturday, September 24, beginning at 8 a.m. at the Venetian Terra Nova Hotel, 17 Waterloo Road, Kingston 10. Listen as Love 101 FM will share highlights. Sponsored by Love 101 FM. That's the 10th annual Church Leaders Breakfast of Wycliffe Caribbean. The highlights will be this Saturday on Love 101 FM, the family station.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Let's take a look now at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. And we will look firstly at a very troubling story in the Observer. Student raped, left for dead. She cried for help, but no one showed up. This one by Horace Mills, Observer writer. The administrators of Oracabessa High School have confirmed that they are conducting investigations into an alleged sex crime committed against a female student about 4 o'clock on Monday afternoon while classes were in session. We now turn to the Gleaner. IT venture capitalist Lloyd Carney, new UTEC chancellor. Still no president. Jamaica-born information technology engineer and US-based venture capitalist Lloyd Carney is the new chancellor of the University of Technology Jamaica, UTEC, filling one of the top 2 leadership positions vacant for more than 2 years. Those and other stories in both major daily newspapers. Coming up next, we'll read for you some of the feedback from our Facebook and WhatsApp question, which is, why have you not done your prostate exam yet? If you haven't done so yet, leave a comment on our Facebook or YouTube Love 101 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp comments and voice notes to 876-9973-125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll be right back.
I've got love in my heart and I'm feeling blessed.
Are you ready for another exciting show inside Alive 1 to 5 this Throwback Thursday, September 22? Join me, your host, Sarah Am, the Chirpy One, for another time to recollect and reconnect. Stick around for Prayer Blast at 2 o'clock as we ring in the prayer bells of heaven. 2:15 inside Pieces of the Past, we put our church lesson series, part 6. Then at 3 p.m., we bring you another episode of Proverbially Speaking, criticism. All this and more will come alive at 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. this Throwback Thursday, September 22, on the family station, Love 101.
The book of Acts does much more than just chronicle the early days of the church. It reveals the outpouring of the Holy Spirit and the power he brings to the believer even today. Meet the first leaders and the early martyrs, and witness the struggles and the triumphs of God's people on the move, taking the good news of Jesus Christ to the world. Join Bible teacher Woodrow Kroll as he takes an extended look at the book of Acts in a study entitled Recovering the Power of the First Century Church. Monday, September 5 through to Friday, October 14 on Back to the Bible, weekday afternoons at 12:30, right here on Love 101 FM, the family station.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Let's now join Dietary for a look at how our Facebook and WhatsApp friends answer today's question. Why haven't you done your prostate exam yet? Although I do gather that there's a comment, but maybe not on the question, Dietary.
Yes, that's correct. So, as it relates to the question, Jackie Douglas says she's a woman, but her husband did his prostate check last year. And Sister Marvel was commenting on the first watch. She said the minister must put it in writing. Last days, evil time, evil people.
Well, both comments interesting. Happy that the husband of that person who commented has done his check. And in terms of the other comment, I agree with her. Now, in the month of September, we raise awareness to several cancers, including prostate cancer. The earlier it is detected is the easier it is to treat it. Errol Bean is a man who tested early and was able to start treatment to get rid of it. Mr. Bean is a former pastor, minister of religion, now a member of a denomination, and he is also associated with quite a number of organizations. He is a member of the Jamaica Music Society, Jamaica Association of Composers, Authors and Publishers, and the Jamaican Copyright Licensing Agency, and has recorded and released a number of gospel and culturally themed songs. He's the author of 2 self-published books. He is married and is a father. Mr. Bean, good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning. Thank God. I'm giving thanks.
And you say, thank God. Well, first of all, thank God that you're alive and here.
Of course, that's what it's all about. For me to live is Christ and to die is gain. So I'm always alive.
Yes, yes. Glad that you're with us to give this, I'm going to call it a testimony.
It's a testimony. And that's the only reason why I'm here.
Yes.
Because we have nothing to boast about, but to give a testimony.
Yes. So, Mr. Bean, how did you find out about this prostate cancer diagnosis? Tell us the background to it.
Well, first of all, I have a very good family doctor, Dr. Bernard Maraj, and every year, having been referred to, let's start with my professor, William Bill Aiken, who's my urologist, and being referred to him, I do an annual executive for many years. And the last one I had
you mean the executive profile? That's
executive profile, which includes your blood sugar, your PSA, importantly, and other possible underlying medical.
The PSA has something to do with the prostate check for that they do with a blood test.
The PSA is a particular blood test that indicates whether what is the reading or the number that is assigned to your to the prostate in terms of growth. So to zero in on mine, up to 2020, when I was 70 years old, mine was 3.2. And the standard, I'm not a doctor, so I won't, don't hold me to everything, but the standard is that once it goes to 4 or 5, or a drastic move over a year, you should move towards checking it out to see what's the cause. Because as men get older, their prostate get enlarged naturally, and especially we black men and a lot of us in Jamaica. And mine was elevated in terms of size, as Professor Aiken kept telling me, but we did not have any need to be afraid that there was cancer because I was 70 and it had been moving up. So then the PSA moved from, that's the number assigned, from 3.2, I think, to 5.4 or 5. And my doctor said, we need to move on. So to just run through the whole process, having had a elevated PSA reading, I did an MRI, of course, Winchester Medical, Winchester MRI Center staff was very good to me. And then when the reading came back, sometime, well, in the beginning of the 2022, it indicated that there was something to check. There was indication of possible cancer. So the next thing I had to do a biopsy. Of course, Dr. Rich, my doctor at Oxford Medical, did a biopsy. I was a little ticklish, I must admit, but I came to all right. And it confirmed that there was some level of cancer, intermediate. And so I can say that it was caught pretty early. If I delayed one more year, it would have moved out of the prostate, as they would say, and then move into lymph nodes. I had to do a bone scan to ensure. Professor Aiken required a bone scan to make sure that I didn't have movement in the bone or lymph nodes. So having been cleared, we did surgery on the 30th of May this year at age 71. And so that is the basis of it. I should also say every year, in addition to the PSA blood test, we do what is called the digital or the finger test, where the doctor inserts into the rectum and feels the prostate. Again, I'm not a doctor to give you the alignment of that with the prostate, but they can feel the prostate. And if it is tough and crusty, understand, then you know that something is wrong. But if it is soft and regular, they know that is natural growth. So that's my diagnosis, diagnosis. And then, as I mentioned, treatment was I opted for surgery.
I see. You opted
Yes.
for surgery. And
Yes.
how has it been since?
Well, I give God thanks that I have been coming on very good. And the first reading of my PSA after the surgery, which I did on the 25th of July, having had the surgery on the 30th of May, was 0.09. Now, that's a very good reading. That's when you have 0 point whatever after surgery. But the ideal, I think, is for it to be undetectable, which is 0.01 or 0.00 or 2. And so I must just jump ahead a little and say, at the moment, I am not declared cancer free. And I was not going to give my testimony about this until I was told I was cancer free. But when our sister Kathy, a producer, asked me, I don't say no to Kathy unless it is a mutual agreement between both of us that it's no. And
Okay,
so,
okay.
yes, of course, and Love FM, is our family station. So we did that, and the PSA reading was good, and therefore I am now being give some specialized treatment to make sure if there is any residual microscopic cells, cancer cells in me, I am being treated over
Hold
the
that
next.
thought. Hold that thought, Mr. Bean. I
Yes.
think we're now upon a break. Listeners, stay with us. We'll be right back in the morning watch.
Want a birthday gift? Oreo is celebrating 110 years and giving you the gift. From August 2, buy any 5 Oreo products expiration no earlier than August 2, and you could unwrap and have a chance to win over 1 million in cash and prizes. You have 3 ways to enter. Upload receipts to OreoPromotions.com, mail entries to Oreo 110 birthday promotion and send to PO Box 2000 CSO, or drop entries along with contact information in boxes at participating stores. Grand draw October 14, 2022. Oreo, stay playful. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting Gaming and Lotteries Act.
I am just a little girl, but I have big dreams. And one day, all my dreams are going to come true. That's why I'm glad Mommy opened a Sagicor Bank Star Savers account for me. It's the best gift she could ever give me, because one day I won't be little anymore. And my small savings are going to grow big. I even got my own debit card. Give your child a gift that will grow. Open a Sagicor Bank Star Savers account today.
Hello, I'm Dr. Nadine Blair, Programs Manager at Love 101 FM, the family station. Here's a reminder, a soft answer turns away wrath, but you see them grievous words, them stir up the anger. Proverbs 15 verse 1. Before you respond, stop and think. Let's reignite the love.
Hello, neighbor. We are family.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the second watch. We're speaking to Errol Bean, prostate cancer patient, and giving somewhat of a testimony here in terms of his experience having detected prostate cancer early. Errol Bean, a faith journey with prostate cancer. Mr. Bean.
Yes.
They haven't declared you cancer free.
Yes.
The reading is relatively low from what you have said.
Yes.
And you're taking medication to address what might still be there. Have I summarized it correctly?
Yes, you're correct. And what will happen is that in another 2 months, I will do another PSA. And so if it is lowered, then they will know that whatever treatment I was being given is working positively. If the PSA moves up from the 0.09, they will know that the small cells that were cancer cells that left are growing and are spreading, so to speak. So they would have to decide whether I do radiation. I am not saying that I'm set for radiation, but I'm just trying to outline the possible treatment for me. There are some persons who do radiation first, and they take many months, possibly a couple of years, for the PSA to get down. I opted to do the surgery because I trusted my doctor, Professor William Aiken, and my assistant surgeon, Dr. Reed, and the efficient anesthesiologist, Dr. Minot, at Tony Tweets, UWI. So I was in good hands, yes.
Understood. Now, in addition to the medication that you're taking and in addition to the surgery that you have had, are there any other guidelines? For instance, any dietary guidelines, lifestyle guidelines, the way you live that you have been asked to comply with or that you have taken on to yourself?
Good question. Well, yes, before my wife and I, and she's a great part of this, we have changed our diet from a couple of years now, and we hardly eat meat. We have a little chicken strip every now and then. We have some fish, a lot of vegetables. Try to keep up my exercise. I don't have dairy. I have oat milk if I need to have milk, and I have a lot of fruits and vegetable and nuts. So yes, we go on a special diet so that whatever and we don't have sugar. We don't put sugar in our tea. We'll have a little piece of cane every now and again, but we don't put sugar in our tea. We don't drink sweet drinks. We drink coconut water and natural water. So
Ooh.
I am on a good dietary
And
trajectory, I
of
think.
course, a note of caution to the listeners: we're not telling anyone what to consume, but do you have, for instance, honey?
No, I used to, but I don't have it. The doctors don't tell you everything, and they can't remember to tell you everything. But um, not at the moment. I don't have any honey.
I see. I
Yes,
see. I see.
right.
How important, you mentioned your wife, how important is it to have that family support there with you when you're going through an experience like this?
It is the most important thing, and I may just say this to men. I know the test and the temptation when you're young and you're strong and you're physically fit and virile and everything are going good, for you to be sidetracked and to see people who you have, passing interest or maybe misplaced interest. But I say this: whenever cancer or any other serious illness strikes, away from your good friends, close friends, prayer partners, all you have left is your partner, your wife. And if you have good children, like my one lovely daughter, our one beautiful, lovely daughter, Dr. Dela Bean, who between she and my wife, Gloria, I couldn't ask for better. But I must also add, in addition to my family care and love and friendship and tolerance and patience, the prayer partners, I have number of voice notes when my friends heard that I was diagnosed with cancer. And I have to mention Sister Valerie Baxter Lindsay. She's my main prayer partner, and I have several voice notes that she sent me. And the number of prayers that went up or out or down or wherever God is. For me, I said, boy, God is bombarded with prayer. So between the prayer and the skillful doctors that I had to work with, and the nurses and my wife's care, I God, well, put it this way, without being blasphemous, God never had a choice but to really reach out and touch me. And my life has been touched. And I have faith that whether the cancer goes fully or I live with it and be treated. I'm 71 years. I've gotten my full run, 70. I have 1 year plus, and I expect more. And I live by faith, and I'm not worried about death. I'm not worried about some of the myths that men have, that, boy, if you do this surgery, you're going to have to wear nappy. Well, I'm not wearing any. That you won't be able to keep your urine. Thank God my urine is doing good. On just 3 months. And other myths that people have, they are afraid of the digital rectum anal test. There's nothing to it. It's just a feel. And once you put your mind to it and you trust your doctor, there is nothing to it. So men, please get rid of that myth that something is very dangerous about it, and that certain things, men worry that they might not be able to have sex and so on. These are not things that should be priority, I believe. What is to be priority is life. And if you prefer to know that, boy, you will always be able to do your thing and not sure where the cancer is, if I had a choice, I would opt to move the cancer out of me. And that's what I did by the grace of God. And I'm happy I did.
Do you, well, in terms of any sort of encouragement or support from other males who you happen to know from church, what is that like, if at all? Because
Okay.
many people might be might be having certain concerns, but
Yes.
they're not sure who to ask, where to turn.
Well, I have most of my support. I am a ladies' man. I love women. I care about women. Most of my good friends are women. So I have a lot of close women friends who are close to me. And but I have some great men too, who have encouraged me. Some of them have had their brush with cancer and have overcome. And yes, so people, not even only Christians, people who who have worked within the music industry, people have worked within my um, employment in education or insurance or credit union movement. I have men who have encouraged me, and so my support is strong. But my mission now is to just remind our men, please do your test. And I have helped a lot of men. In fact, I must say, if you start having certain issues, urinary issues, it doesn't mean that you have cancer. It could mean that your prostate is enlarged and is pressing on your bladder and make you want to urinate pretty often. So, men, if you find yourself urinating pretty often, it could be that your prostate is elevated. Talk to your doctor and don't be afraid. Go and get the test done because it may save your life.
Understood, sir.
Yes.
Now, in terms of early detection,
Yes.
you detected it by doing, the executive profile at
Yes.
a particular point in time.
Yes.
Did you seek to check outside of the executive profile, or it was only the executive profile that you would have done that would have shown you a result? In other words, coming up all along through the years, did you make regular checks, or was it only the executive profile you would have relied on?
No, I do regular checks. I believe in medicine, and I believe that God has given medicine and doctors and nurses and medical professionals as a part of His increase of knowledge and miracle and healing. So I am a doctor person. I go when I have certain illnesses. My wife feels a certain way. We don't hesitate and start treat with bush. I'm not saying natural medicine is not part of the treatment process for some people, but I believe in medical science and I go. So in addition to doing the annual, I usually do regular checks with my doctor. And the so I had a routine checkup with my urologist. I think it's every, like when we started seeing the elevation of the prostate, I would go to him regular. He said, I think sometime 3 weeks or a month or so, and then when the discovery was made that it was elevated, we know we had to started doing tests. As I said, the MRI that maps out the prostate shows them by color code where the cancer possible is, if there is cancer, and where the enlarge, what is the need reason for the enlargement. Then you have to do a biopsy, which is a very technical process of inserting. Um, I don't want to scare anybody, but they have to put an instrument in you via your anus and take tiny samples from the prostate and put it to the lab, and then they will use that to map out where exactly cancer is. So it is not a walk in the park. It's not a little sweet dance. It is involve a lot of stuff, and I must give thanks to God, especially for providing the funds, because if you have to wait on the natural government and medical care, sometimes it takes a year. But thank God I was enabled financially to be able to do my checks and to do it privately, and I didn't have to
You
wait.
you you had a critical illness policy or something of that sort, sir?
Well, no, I
Insurance
did.
policy.
No, I have a regular insurance, but not critical.
I see.
Because my wife and I decided to put some of our funds into our credit union to make sure we could fall on that, and that has served us well. So it's not about being rich; it's about planning your life, because you inevitably will come. You're getting on in age, and anybody can be shut down anytime. You get on in age, you start planning, and you know that you have to put things in place. So I didn't have that particular plan, but I had one regular insurance that helped what we were able to finance. And miraculously, I can't tell you some of the ways God has helped me, but I give thanks to God, because it is God to whom all glory is due with this
Mr.
matter.
Bean, we have to leave it there because we're totally out of time. But thank you for what you have shared with us this morning, sir.
You're welcome.
We hope that you will overcome fully.
I know I have overcome. I'm healed and sealed, or sealed and healed, whichever.
Okay,
By
sir.
the grace
Thank
of
you
God.
so much, sir. Thank you. Oh, and thank you all listeners for being with us today. Visit the Love 101 FM YouTube channel and Facebook page for this and all other Love 101 FM programs. Listen to the Morning Watch on our Love 101 app. Download it today and stay connected to us, the family station, Love 101 FM, the number 4 station in the island. and the #1 gospel station in Jamaica. This has been the Morning Watch. Have a blessed weekend and join Reverend Dr. Dylan Toussaint next week when he'll continue to set the stage for the discussion of topical and controversial issues. Thanks to our producer Kathy Gale and to our guests, I am Stokeley Marshall, handing back Love in the Morning with Dietary Parchment.
The NHS